So as we transition throughout the day, look at 9 o'clock and also towards lunchtime, what happened to the purple? What happened to the red? It's going to go with Irma, and gradually we're going to go from very windy to breezy, and then by tomorrow, those winds will gradually start to lower. And even notice by later on today, you know, it'll be breezy, but not compared to what we had yesterday. Now, I want to talk about the surge. It's teaming up with some of the local high tides, and because of this persistent southwesterly wind, so we have Irma right now, remember that, in central Florida, and the counterclockwise motion. If you're listening to me right now on radio, kind of think in your head that the wind is coming off the Gulf, and it is forcing that water into some of our waterways, our streams, our rivers. And that's why we could see a little bit of a water level rise and a storm surge. And you may notice that if you live along the water. So this will continue for the next few hours. And also, you just want to be mindful of high tide. That would be the greatest potential for that storm surge in a few feet. But as we transition into this afternoon and this evening, notice how the red, the purple are giving way to lighter colors as the winds will lighten down, and they will be much better, I promise you, by tomorrow. So future track model. As far as the rain goes, it's going to be very spotty, very hit or miss, isolated showers. You know, you'll see the rain for a few minutes, maybe 15, 30 minutes tops, and then they continue on their way. For our TV viewers right now, you can see these pockets where the rain could briefly become heavy, a few heavy downpours, and then the winds would crank up, and then those showers continue on their way. So spotty showers and storms, and then for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we know the drill. Here it is well into summer. It's pretty much back to our typical summertime pattern. So we have Irma, left portion of your screen, that will continue northward across the state, and then we have Jose. No way, Jose. We've had enough this week. Stay away. And basically, it's a 115 Category 3. It is going to do a lot of erratic movements the next few days, essentially a loop-de-loop. And then I know this looks ominous, but just like I did with Irma for you, I want to give you some peace of mind with this. Computer models, although that initially looks ominous, notice how the majority of them, oh, and it looks like this one is actually joined on with the other ones as well. A few hours ago, it had it curving more this way. So these models are trying, all of them, to curve it away from Florida. And the number one model, the European model, which pretty much nailed Irma, at least compared to others, they are also joining in on this solution as well. That, granted, it's going to do some donuts, you know, a few hundred miles east of Florida, but eventually, once it moves west, it's going to take more of a turn towards the north and towards the northeast, and that should, at this point, avoid the state of Florida. So, guys, what I'll do is I'll go back in the Weather Center. We'll get you some new storm surge numbers, and then immediately as we get that in, we'll relay it to you here in the Weather Center.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Wake News reporter John Treeweiler is live now in southwest Cape Coral this morning addressing the damage.
Guys, good morning. We are still in the Cape Coral area here, the Tarpon Point neighborhood, just behind the marina in this residential neighborhood. Rain coming down pretty heavy this morning. I can show you this right here. This is a very large tree that got uprooted last night because of the high winds. You can see the root system over here. It busted some type of a water pipe. You can see water spit into the sky. That's been the case ever since this happened, since yesterday afternoon. The rain coming down actually pretty heavy. The wind has stopped, which is very good news, but we talked about that eerie, creepy feeling kind of really throughout this storm, before, during, and now we can tell you after. It's dark out here. Believe it or not, we did really well with power in this neighborhood. We just lost power probably about half hour to hour ago. So we know some people have been out with power for a long time. We were very, very lucky out here, but this entire neighborhood completely dark right now. We can see blue flashes in the sky, transformers popping most likely. So definitely very creepy, definitely very eerie. Haven't had much time to see the damage, but obviously that curfew still in effect for Lee County, telling people to stay inside until 7 a.m. and obviously stay inside until emergency first responders give you that all clear. Definitely a big cleanup ahead of everybody after this storm. We're reporting in Cape Coral. I'm John Treeweiler, Wink News now.
All right, John, please stay safe out there. Meanwhile, you should really stay off the roads until emergency officials just have time to get out and respond. Now, this is from Caroline Allison. A tree went down in burnt store aisles and it barely missed their car. There are down trees and power lines all over the place, so just be careful when you go out.
And curfews, like John mentioned, they are in effect right now. Lee and Hendry counties are under a curfew daily from 8 p.m. until 7 a.m. Charlotte, Collier, DeSoto, and Lake Placid, you are under a curfew from 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. Again, just a reminder, these curfews went into effect last night, and they are going to stay into effect until further notice.
And if you are out and you're violating that curfew, it is a misdemeanor, so they are enforcing them, so just keep that in mind.
And bridges, they are also going to not reopen until they're deemed safe. The Lee County Department of Transportation and the Florida Department of Transportation plan to inspect the bridges today to make sure their structural integrity is in place. Because of Hurricane Irma's significant wave action, the Sanibel Causeway has been impacted. So until there's an inspection in place, that causeway is off limits. But Sanibel did say this morning that it's top priority.
Right.
So.
And then the bridges across Southwest Florida are taking precedence really across the area because they want to make sure people can get back to where they need to go. Take a look at this new video from Marco Island. Take a close look at the bottom left-hand side of your screen below. There we go, right there. You see those cars there? They were being blown around on top of that parking garage. Just incredible. This was posted by a viewer at Bohemian Celiac on Twitter, but you can see just how strong those winds are, even blowing those cars on top of that parking garage in Naples. Very dangerous out there. And
Corey actually just found this video too. It's a new video posted on Twitter by Barry Allen. Watch, look at that transformer exploding. This is in Waterford, east of Orlando. We've seen this here locally as well. This, I mean, really captures just the intensity of it. But Morgan Francis, who was in Punta Gorda all overnight, I believe it was in the like 2 a.m. hours she was reporting, and she was saying she saw transformers blowing off of Airport and Jerry is where she was at the time, so just east of 41 in Punta Gorda. And it was just an incredible video, though, because that's why you shouldn't be outside during all of this, really, because you never know what's going to happen. We think about debris, but you got to also think about the power lines and all of that kind of stuff. And now here's a look at a seawall in Punta Gorda that collapsed. It didn't hold up. Take a look at that. It cracked in several areas. Again, this is off in Punta Gorda off Marion Avenue and PGI. Looks like, though, it even pulled the ground out. So a very dangerous situation there. And Chuck and Ania Smith from the 17th floor of the Riviera condos here in Fort Myers, they posted this. Look at that destruction below them. They tell us that this was taken around 6:36 last night, and all of that siding in the carport just kind of looked like pixie sticks thrown around there. Wow. And Cape Coral first responders returned to service this morning with the special conditions. The police department says officers, firefighters, and EMS workers will take calls, but they're only taking the priority calls right now, and they're going to be damage assessments taking place, and that's going to be taking precedence. And there are also several areas that are under a boil water alert. Those include Sanibel, Captiva, Arcadia, Collier County Water District customers, Marco Island, and Bonita Beach. Fort Myers Beach is included in this list. Big Hickory Island, Little Hickory Island, Black Island North. Now, these boil water alerts are in effect until further notice, so when we hear more, we'll let you know. And over here, a lot of you are going to be, wondering about how am I going to report damage to FEMA and possibly get FEMA assistance. So here's a very important website I want you to take a look at. This is disasterassistance.gov. Go ahead and save it in your device, whatever device you're using. Now, FEMA has to declare your area a disaster zone before you can really apply for any type of FEMA assistance. But this website makes it very easy for you. Again, it's disasterassistance.gov. And when you get to this website, you can access all types of information. You can view sheltering assistance programs. You can volunteer before you can really apply. It even gives you more information on USA.gov. But right down here on disasterassistance.gov is this button that says Apply Online. If you click that button, you'll have to input your information
your contact information, and your address, and it's going to tell you what to do next to apply for FEMA assistance. But again, they've tried to make it as easy as possible for you. We've gotten so many questions from you on the Wink News Facebook page. How do I apply for FEMA assistance? And this is the easiest way to do it. Again, it's disasterassistance.gov. Go ahead and save that in your device now.
Well, Marco Island took a direct hit from Hurricane Irma, and we want you to watch and listen to this.
I can hear you.
I'm sure that sound is a very familiar noise to many of you. I'm sure you heard it yesterday. This is taken from Henry Tyler Hill. You can see the wind's just whipping everything. And you can hear
for any type of FEMA assistance. But this website makes it very easy for you. Again, it's disasterassistance.gov.
Look at the truck kind of bouncing right there. Storm surge flooding, also an issue there in Marco Island. Now, so far we know Naples is one of the hardest hit areas, and this video shows just one of the neighborhoods. Look at all the debris laying around right there. Looks like a pipe burst, and then you can see things just kind of debris tossing in the wind, the trees and all of the debris just scattered all over the roadway.
You know what's incredible about these images, though? The disaster, the destruction is just so intense, and it in some ways looks like just a giant tornado came and ripped through that area. And I know meteorologists are now going to be looking through all of the data and see, if we did have any possible tornadoes in the area. But that destruction there is very eerie, and this is what people are going to be coming home to this morning. And you just see the destruction. It's kind of jaw-dropping.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of people are going to have to literally rebuild their homes from the ground up. So it's a very it's a sad situation.
Hope for the best, but if you're in a shelter listening to us, I guess you also have to be prepared that there could
when
be
you get
damage.
to this website, you can access all types of information.
Back to our homes.
All Collier and Hendry County schools are closed today through Friday until further notice. Now, Lee County schools are closed until Tuesday. They haven't yet made the decision if they want to close past that. Cape Coral Municipal Charter Schools are also closed today.
And the South Florida Water Management District says they should be able to drain water after the storm has passed.
Link News anchor Bob Urzik spoke with their chief engineer about what exactly they're going to be doing. Bob, what did you learn?
Well, Corey and Lindsay, when we spoke several hours ago, they weren't worried about the levels at Lake Okeechobee. After the storm has completely passed, take a listen to what Chief Engineer John Mitnick says the district will be doing.
Obviously, after the storm has passed, the storm surge subsides, so we'll have the full ability to drain the landscape. All of our structures over on the West Coast in the Big Cypress Basin, Collier County area are full open, and we're trying to discharge as much of that water as we can, and it will continue to remain that way long after the storm has passed and the surge has subsided. Tropical storm winds subside in the area, then we'll be able to get our field crews. We'll get everybody back out in the field to assess any damage to the water control system, whether it's the structures.
Across the Keys there and into Southwest Florida. We continue to take this into late afternoon. We watch that eye wall come up right into Fort Myers. That's going into, say, 6 o'clock. And so again, on the back side of the circulation, that's when the water is really starting to come up there around Marco Island and Naples. Marco Island, exceptionally vulnerable to surge. You've got a very shallow shelf and a lot of homes that are sitting right on the water there, and we could be talking about water getting
the power now out for more than 4 million people in Florida. One of the cities hardest hit by Irma was Miami. Howling winds and 2 cranes crashing down, flooded streets, much more damage. We're live in Miami next.
Going into 10 o'clock tonight.
Stop everything. IHOP French toasted a donut. Yep, then added crispy bacon and delicious fruit.
Take a listen.
It's been going French really toasted donut? It's unbelievable. Try it as a combo. It's available.
Sure to let you know when and where that's happening.
Well, a new life In the chaos of Hurricane Irma, look at this picture.
Yep, then added crispy bacon and delicious fruit.
Take a look. It's been going really to a little baby girl. Coral Springs Police and Fire Department.
Toasted donuts? It's unbelievable. Try it as a combo. Why
to let you know when and where that's happening.
An entrance. Well, a new life relation. I'm so glad baby's okay, mommy's okay.
And those
in
are
the
true
chaos
heroes
of her.
All of this. I mean, the first responders, we've just heard so many stories like this. Even a woman, I believe in the Miami area,
Irma.
gave birth.
Look at this picture.
Yep, then added crispy bacon and
we're walking them through the process. So hats off to this.
Take a look.
It's been going really to a little baby girl. Well, Coral, this is a pretty crazy video. 2 manatees Police and Fire
Toasted donuts? It's unbelievable. Try it as a combo. Why
to let you know when and where that's happening.
An entrance. Well, a new life relation. This video is so glad baby's okay. Shows people coming to the aid of the manatee. They rolled this in the chaos of green tarps so they could take it into deeper water. Manatees are considered a threatened species, and they face a risk of future endangerment. So glad to see that those guys stumbled. I don't know if they stumbled upon it or what, but
it's hard to see too. You know, just how this storm really affected everything.
Yeah, and I'm imagining, and I don't know exactly what happened here because this video was taken by them, but you know, we saw that water getting pulled out so quickly here behind us and at Sanibel Causeway, so I'm guessing that's probably what happened in this case, and unfortunately the manatee was stuck there.
And you know, as Lindsay was saying, we did see all of that water recede so far yesterday, and now obviously it's been pushed back. We're talking about storm surge this morning, and Matt Devitt is here with us now because, Matt, so many people are just wondering, what is the storm surge like? And to people's surprise, this actually happens after the storm a lot of times as well, right?
Before and after, yeah. And to answer your question, I would almost say it's 99% that was because of the water going out.
Quickly being pulled out.
And the manatee just, it may have been in low waters as is, and then, so I'm glad that they obviously spotted, they took care of that, and you know, at least there was some good news out of all the craziness that we've had the past 24, 36 hours.
We need it, right?
I know, right? So, but they had that as well in Tampa Bay, just like we had it here in Southwest Florida. The waters were pushed out, and then now they're coming back in. So I just wanted to give you some updates here. First, we'll start in Collier County and in Naples. The storm surge in Naples was around 3 to 5 feet. Okay, but for right now, it's in the midst of slowly starting to go down. So in Naples, 3 to 5 feet was your maximum storm surge, and then it's right now slowly starting to go down.
Now, is Naples going to see the worst of the storm surge? Is that the area?
Well, they essentially already did.
Okay.
They essentially already did. And truthfully, the worst storm surge in all of Southwest Florida was mainly in southern and coastal Collier County.
Okay.
And that was from, let's say Marco Island to Choccolosky, Everglades City. And it was because of their positioning with the eye wall.
Okay.
So truthfully, the worst storm surge with Irma, and if we could go to a 3-shot here, guys, that's basically, you can see the wind streams coming off the Gulf, but the worst storm surge was from Choccolosky all the way towards Marco Island, Everglades City. They had it the worst, at least within our area. The worst that I saw altogether was in the Keys, 10 to 14-foot storm surge.
Wow.
And that's hard to think about, too, you know, just how much water is just being pushed on these places by this storm. So I'm hoping that people prepared there in Collier County where they saw the worst of the storm surge.
And what we'll do, folks, so that way everybody is covered, I want to make everybody happy. And we've been having some questions on our Facebook Live. I've been reading those, and I want to give everybody some peace of mind. Now we'll cross over into Lee County. I can literally attest to this. Just went outside of the station. We're along one of those streams that goes into the Caloosahatchee, and no question, we do have some storm surge right now. It's about 1 to 2 feet.
Okay.
1 to 2 feet. It's nothing life-threatening where we are at, and but we do have a noticeable water rise.
Matt, can I interrupt you real quick? We were talking. You mentioned Keys and you mentioned Naples. You said Marco to
1 to 2 feet.
Okay.
1 to 2 feet. It's nothing
Everglades
life-threatening.
Was the worst in Collier?
Where we are at.
What
And
was that? I didn't get that number.
well, in Naples, it was 3 to 5.
And
I
they're
don't
included
believe.
in that?
Well, I would say they had even worse, truthfully.
Okay. But not like what the Keys were seeing, which was 10 to 14.
Yeah, the Keys had the worst, 10 to 14.
Okay.
Naples had about 3 to 5. And then from Marco Island to Everglades City, I would suspect, Zach, what do you think, 5 to 10, possibly?
I would say at least, yeah. I'd go with that.
About 5 to 10.
All right, thanks, guys. Okay.
So in that area, that is why, remember that one picture?
Yeah.
I believe, what was it, Everglades City?
Everglades City,
Everglades City.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
feet of water. And it was because they were in the worst spot. They were on the eastern side of the eye wall, which was projected, for a time water, and it was because they were in the worst spot. 12 to 18 hours to be just west of our coastline, and that meant that worst surge would have been from Marco Island to Naples all the way towards the Cape, Sanibel, and that is why they made those initial projections and had those mandatory evacuations. But as the eye, and again, weather, it has a mind of its own, Irma decided to shift a little bit more towards the right. Good news for most of us, and it took the worst storm surge.
We're lighting up the horizon with blue shades, violet shades of light. It was quite incredible to see that sight because these transformers, once they get taken down like that, quickly start to burst. Now, without electricity, about 3/4 of the horizon with blue shades, violet shades of light. Think about it. It was quite incredible to see that sight because these transformers don't work. Everything is dark, so they're susceptible to looting. So the Miami-Dade police just tweeted a little bit ago that they had 28 arrests overnight from looting across the county, and that's because there's simply just no electricity. Nobody in the area because they've listened to the evacuation orders. Check this power of this toppled tree out. What it did, it actually caused a water main break here as well. So one of the other concerns going about, you can imagine that if you had a live wire fall into this water, that would be very difficult or very, very dangerous to step in. Those are the hazards here among many, but the cleanup really is underway and will continue to be underway this morning on Monday morning. Christine, they really had full force here, Hurricane 1, Category 1 status, but, it could have been a lot worse.
All right, Derek Van Dam for us in Miami, thank you. As Irma batters Florida with wind and rain, how much will the damage cost? Well, it's early, but the estimates, early estimates here, it's a price tag of $172 billion, making it one of the costliest storms ever. And that's not just property damage. Florida is the fourth largest economy in the U.S., bolstered by huge industries like agriculture and tourism. Tourism alone generated $90 billion last year, and tourism could take a hit if the storm damages infrastructure and airports. In fact, several key airports are offline. Miami International Airport reporting significant water damage, and most of the state's major theme parks are currently closed. Very rare to have Disney World closed, but it is one of those few days when Disney is closed. It's not just tourism. The storm could also hurt Florida's housing market, a large driver of its economy. Americans have been moving to Florida in droves, and significant property damage could trigger a slowdown.
We'll continue to hear about the National Flood Insurance Program, which is a disaster, $25 billion in debt at last check. All right, early start continues right now with the latest projections. Who will see those wicked winds that Sarah Seidner is seeing in Daytona Beach next?
This is CNN Breaking News.
More of our breaking news coverage as millions in Florida waking up with no power this morning after one of the most ferocious hurricanes in years. Irma still churning north. The threat of storm surges lurking in the south, where the storm left plenty of devastation behind. Welcome back to Early Start, everybody. I'm Dave Briggs.
And I'm Christine Romans. It is 31 minutes past the hour. Victor Blackwell is co-anchoring our coverage this morning. He is in Tampa. He will join us in just a moment. But right now, torrential rains, devastating winds whipping through Florida from coast to coast.
The relentless pounding from Hurricane Irma, ripping down power lines, leaving a trail of destruction behind her. Take a look at this transformer. blowing in Miami, and scenes like that playing out all over the state. More than 4 million electric customers are without power as we speak, and that number likely to go higher as the storm travels north.
In Naples, water levels are rising at an alarming rate, 9 feet in a 3-hour span. Even though Irma is now a Category 1, forecasters are warning everyone in her path to be prepared for potentially life-threatening storm surge. In the city of Venice, the utilities department has shut down the water plant. There appears to be a significant main break in the system. That means no drinking water or water to flush toilets.
The Brevard County Sheriff's Department reporting 2 tornadoes actually touched down. In Mims and Palm Bay, mobile homes destroyed, but thus far no injuries reported. Irma's ferocious winds collapsing at least 2 construction cranes in Miami, one swinging precariously over downtown while another dangling over the city's Edgewood neighborhood.
So far, CNN has confirmed 1 storm-related death, a driver killed in a single-car accident in Orange County. First responders also already executing rescues across Florida, rescues and evacuations underway along the Intercoastal Waterway right now in Daytona Beach. The North Miami Beach Police Department tweeting this: it had deployed an armored personnel carrier to pull a mother and her 4-month-old child from their flooded home. They were safely transported to a shelter.
Yeah, we spoke with Major Richard Rand about that and the things those first responders are doing. He did unfortunately say looting remains a big problem there in South Florida, but severe punishment is on the way.
Now, the hurricane tearing through the Tampa area overnight. About 28,000 people taking refuge in 45 shelters throughout Hillsborough County. All residents now being told to stay where you are. Let's go live to Tampa. Let's bring in CNN's Victor Blackwell. Victor?
Christine, David, good morning to you. A bit of a change in the weather here. For the last couple of hours, we had just that calm of the eye, just a soft breeze, no real precipitation. We're starting to get what was an intermittent mist now to being pretty steady, and we're expecting that there will be some more showers coming. But the worst is over for this portion of Florida. The front really brutal eye wall passed through here earlier this morning about 1 a.m., bringing with it the strongest gust we've seen in this part of the state, about 75 mile per hour wind gust, which would make that in the category of a 1 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. So that has passed through, but we know that more is coming. There are about 28,000 people, as we know, who are in shelters across Hillsborough County, most of them there because of mandatory evacuations. The city here of Tampa evacuated low-lying areas close to the bay, close to Hillsborough River, because they expected that potential storm surge to flood those areas and really make it impossible for them to get out of the way of the water in time. Also, people who live in mobile homes across Hillsborough County were forced to leave those through those mandatory evacuations. With the winds whipping through, those could be torn apart really quickly and put a lot of people's lives in danger. There is a mandatory curfew that's across this city. The mayor, Bob Buckhorn, saying that police would be very aggressive about making sure that people stay off the roads and off the streets while they assess the damage across this area. We know that what was expected to be a really strong storm surge if the storm passed to the west has not come to fruition as it passed to the east, but still they're looking now to determine what has really been the legacy of Irma for Tampa. About 500,000 of the roughly 4 million people across Florida who've lost power are here in this part of the state. Let's go now to Karen McGinnis. And Karen, am I right here? Maybe I spoke too soon, that the worst is over for Tampa. What are they looking at for the next few hours?
Well, the next few hours, I think, are critical because there is high tide that is taking place right now, and that's about a 2 to 3 feet between the high tide and low tide. And still the wind is coming in from the west. And I think that northwesterly component, that sent a little bit of a surge, but now the wind's coming in more from the west across the Tampa Bay area. That increases the storm surge, but we have seen tremendous storm surge along this northeastern coast of Florida. As a matter of fact, that hasn't been given a lot of attention. I've been talking about it quite a bit, but now we have seen water going over these sea walls all the way from Jacksonville, Tybee Island down to Daytona Beach. I mentioned Daytona Beach because one of the lasting memories that we will probably have from this is Sarah Seidner, who's been pelted in the face, and there you can see it right now. Sarah has really braved Irma in its worst form there. They are saying that there are high water rescues taking place around Daytona Beach now, and India Atlantic Beach area also has reported very heavy rainfall. In some of these locations, we could see isolated amounts there of 20 inches, but India Atlantic, they were saying that some of the water in homes there were up to waist deep, and this was a couple of hours ago. Also, right around Lakeland, we had reports that there were some water in homes up to about 19 inches. Daytona, you could see another potentially heavy band before it really starts to taper off. So that's good news for Sarah. But I want to mention the power outages. We know about Miami Airport having been impacted by the heavy rainfall. They are closed this September 11th. May open for limited service on Tuesday, but that's still an unknown. But here you can see this east coast of Florida, which if you were second guessing yourself and thinking, why did I go from the east coast to the west coast? Because they were impacted as well, all the way from Brevard and into Dade County. 70 to 77% of the Florida Power and Light customers are without power. And then you jump over here towards Naples, Florida, Collier County, 95% of the Florida Power and Light customers there are without power. I want to mention one other thing, not out of the woods for Georgia, South Carolina, and into Alabama coming up.
Really important information there. You're talking about some of those coastal areas of South Carolina. They're expecting 4 to 6 foot storm surge. You look at the satellite imagery of what 4 to 6 feet of water is going to look like. Just ugly. All right, Karen, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, Charleston floods easily.
Yeah.
That could be a trouble spot ahead. No matter where you are in Florida, though, dangerous winds whipping up from coast to coast. Millions are in the dark. Live coverage in Florida with more of Hurricane Irma. Next.
Do your stained or yellow teeth embarrass you? Chemical whitening strips and trays contain peroxide or bleach and make your teeth sensitive. And trips to the dentist are expensive and inconvenient. Introducing Miracle Teeth, the breakthrough teeth whitening system that everyone's talking about. Just dip your toothbrush in the Miracle Teeth powder and brush it on. Then rinse for a beautiful white smile. It's the fastest, easiest, natural way to whiten your teeth. You'll see incredible results the very first time you use it. And the more you use it, the whiter your teeth will get. The secret's the combination of natural activated coconut charcoal, bentonite powder, and orange seed oil that lifts, extracts, and removes years of yellowing and stains. You'll go from ugly, stained and yellow to a beautiful, bright white $1 million smile with Miracle Teeth. Miracle Teeth is completely natural and gentle on teeth and gums. It works great on natural teeth or veneers. Just look at the difference. Miracle Teeth will whiten teeth that have been stained by smoking, coffee, soda, red wine, and more. Miracle Teeth gives you the confidence to walk into a room and light it up.
I saw an improvement the first time I used it. The more I use it, the whiter my teeth get. All I do is dip and brush, and that's it.
Other whiteners really make my teeth sensitive, but this is really gentle.
Order now and get a jar of Miracle Teeth for only $19.99, and we'll even give you free shipping. That's right, free shipping. But wait, we'll double the offer free. Just pay a separate fee. Miracle Teeth Whitener is proudly formulated in the USA to the highest standards of manufacturing. If you don't see whiter teeth the very first time you use it, simply return it for a full refund. No questions asked. That's 2 jars of Miracle Teeth, money-back guarantee, and free shipping for just $19.99. Call or click now. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-504-0375 or go online at miracleteethwhitener.com. Don't delay. Call 1-800-504-0375 or go online at miracleteethwhitener.com. Order now.
Straining pasta is such a pain when the noodles spill and go down the drain. There has to be a better way.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new Gotham Steel Pasta Pot.
With tempered glass lid and built-in strainer. Plus our exclusive Stay Cool twist and lock handle. Look here, just twist to lock, then drain the pot. With Gotham Steel, you're guaranteed perfect straining and delicious meals every time. The secret's the twist and lock handles that stay cool to the touch and hold the lid down tight. Even upside down with 5 pounds of potatoes. Our IRMA surface is made with super strong titanium and a super slick ceramic. It's durable, so mashing potatoes with electric beaters won't scratch it. Plus, nothing sticks while cooking. Mac and cheese just slides right out. You can even melt cheese right in the pot with no sticking. Try that with another pan. It's a disaster. Our tempered glass lid is high strength and virtually damage proof with both large straining holes and smaller ones, so even the smallest veggies can't escape. The 4-quart pot is large enough for a whole seafood boil. Easily drain the broth, then feast your eyes on this. And there's no easier way to hard boil and drain up to 2 dozen eggs. Plus, it's the best way to drain the fat off ground beef. Add beans, tomato sauce and spices for an easy, delicious Texas chili. Or look here, pop some corn. It's non-stick, so no oil is needed. Then mix in marshmallows, chocolate chips and pour out to cool. So good. So don't let straining get you stressed.
Get your Gotham Steel pasta pot with flip and lock handles and tempered glass straining lid for just $29.99 plus shipping. Plus, we'll even guarantee it for 90 days. But wait, call now and you can get a Gotham Steel pan with IRMA surface. Just pay separate fee. You'll get it all, a huge $80 value for just $29.99. Call now.
To order, call 1-800-889-8790. That's 1-800-889-8790. Or order online at GothamSteelPot.com.
I'm Victor Blackwell, continuing CNN's live coverage of Hurricane Irma in downtown Tampa. We're starting to get a bit of moisture here. It's intermittent at best. It was steady just a moment ago. I want to go to Stephanie Elam, who is also in Tampa. And Stephanie, there is, of course, this curfew here in Tampa that was enacted yesterday during the evening hours. Are you seeing people defying that curfew? Are they out on foot? Are they driving around? What are you seeing where you are?
I did see one car and I saw one person who was out here. But here's the thing. The first responders are out here now. You see the police cars out here now. I've seen them in every direction now. Every direction now I've looked, I've seen them out here. They are out responding to calls that are coming in, as is fire rescue as well. And they're not playing around. The mayor made it very clear yesterday, the mayor of Tampa, Bob Buckhorn, saying, listen, do not come out here. We don't want you out here. And while it is not really raining on my side of Tampa where I am right now, Victor, they are still very much concerned about down power lines. They're saying there are a lot of trees that are down. They've knocked down some fences. They're blocking some roadways. And with that, there could be down power lines, and the smallest of puddles could be completely energized, and that would be devastating. It could end your life. It is not worth being out here unless you need to be. You don't need to be unless you are a first responder and perhaps the news, right? So we can tell you to stay at home. But we are seeing more of that activity. I can tell you where I am, Victor, the winds are starting to kick up more, but we're not really seeing the rain that we thought we'd be seeing by this point now as Irma has started moving north of us here in Tampa. But all in all, the sentiment here is that this has turned out to be better than expected for Tampa, a city that was really vulnerable because there is so much water here. But so far, looking better than expected, Victor.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephanie Elam, also in Tampa for us. We know that we just gotten some information from authorities along the Intracoastal Waterway there on the east coast of Florida that there are evacuations and rescue operations happening right now. So we'll get you more about those as soon as we get it. Let's stay on the east coast there and go to Daytona Beach, where our Sarah Seidner, we've spoken several times this morning, and you said that it's gotten worse. It's as bad as it has been. Each time you said that. How is it now? Is it even worse?
Actually, believe it or not, this is calmer than it was earlier. But then those gusts, and it's the gusts that get you. The sustained winds aren't terrible, but it's the gusts that seem to just push us over. I'm here with my photographer, Jeff King, and producer, Stephanie Becker. She is literally holding on to the light and has things barricaded up against the light. Jeff King is standing in a stance so he can keep up so the wind doesn't push him over, but we're also standing literally 2 feet from our hotel room. We're out on a balcony on the 5th floor. Now, this gives you an idea just how gusty it is up here. It is far more gusty than it is down on the ground, which is where we were earlier today. This is why they close bridges. This is why they don't want over high areas, because when you get a little elevated, and we're not that far from the ground, when you get a little elevated, the wind speed really changes significantly. You can feel it, you can hear it, and a lot of people are curious, and people are constantly saying, why do they put reporters out, and why do they put these crews out? We're safe. All I have to do is get down here, and the wind subsides quite a bit, but it gives people a sense of what's going on. It satisfies their curiosity. We've seen some folks coming out here during this, and we were saying, go inside, we'll do it for you, watch TV, we've got this for you. But the storm is incredibly powerful still. It gives you some idea of just how powerful Irma has been, smacking the West Coast and now smacking the East Coast yet again. This is up from Miami quite a ways. We're about 220 miles or so from Tampa, and we're really seeing the winds pick up here. We do know that the Florida Power and Light situation, we've got workers here that are planning on leaving as soon as this wind dies down during the daylight. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much for that. Sarah Seidner in Daytona Beach.
Stay safe, my friend.
Please.
Stay safe.
All right, the city of Miami and nearby areas dealt a harsh blow by Irma. Cranes toppled roofs ripped right off buildings. We'll talk to the mayor of Fort Lauderdale next.
OfferUp is a new free app that shows what your neighbors are selling.
It's kind of like a game. There's always new surprises.
Come on, sofa.
Come on, dining room table.
Come on. TV. OfferUp is a new free app.
OfferUp is free to use. Find anything you want nearby.
We just got to take it one game at a time. Next question.
Can you repeat everything you just said? My live stream won't load.
Technical foul.
Wrong sport.
Wrong network. You see, you need unlimited on Verizon. It's America's largest, most reliable 4G